Real quick, I did put it on our Facebook, so this is not telling me any secrets. Lorenzo woke up one day. He had been kind of struggling with a fullness in his side. He had complained about it for a couple of days. On the Thursday, he said to me, it's really getting bad, and it's just annoying. And I said, you know what? We're not going to go to Sparza. We're not going to go to CMA in Progresso. Let's just go to Faro, because they're going to have to do the tests anyway, right? So we go to Faro. They immediately, let me tell you something. If you can afford Faro, it's the place to be. And honestly, I think it's one of two hospitals that would have been able to do what Lorenzo needs. Anyway, they put us into an emergency room, CT scan with the color contrast, and a blood test. 4 hours later, they came to us and said, his spleen is 10 times the size it should be. It weighs 5.5 pounds. It's supposed to weigh like 3.5 ounces, something like that. We have a blood test. The blood test comes back. They're looking, and they said, it's throwing off leukemia cells. This is literally within 5 hours of us getting there. And I said, okay, what do we do? And they said, we're going to give you a hematologist here in this hospital. We met with him that afternoon. He sent us on tests on Monday. And the tests were, the prescription booklet is this big. If you have a claim in Mexico, the prescription, the written prescription is key. You have to have it for the claim. You have to have the prescription with the factura, with the medical report, and it's your responsibility to get those things. And you've got a 30-day clock to get it if you want to get reimbursed. So prescriptions, don't just throw them away. You need to keep them for your insurance. Anyway, he writes a bunch of prescriptions for us to go to a bazillion different places for blood tests and whatever. Very first one on Monday. That particular test cost 16,000 pesos, which we're paying out of pocket. We have insurance, but we're paying out of pocket for all of these tests because we don't have a diagnosis. Great. First test, 16,000 pesos. Our hematologist from Faros calls us that afternoon and says, throw all the rest of it away. He does not have leukemia. He has a lymphoma, 2% rare, in his spleen. We're not taking the spleen. We're going to do a monoclonal targeted gene therapy, which is fantastic, okay, that they have that technology. But he said, we have to prove it to the insurance company. So we go in, he writes another 10 prescriptions of another 10 places we have to go. One particular blood test was sent to the U.S. I don't understand all the medical stuff of it, but spinning genes and mutations to whatever, that one test alone was 52,000 pesos. And we're still paying out of pocket. On day 14, visiting pretty much almost every day. We're at Faro or a blood center or a bone marrow. You had to check in for a bone marrow, you had to check in for something else. We're still paying out of pocket. The doctor is we're 300,000 pesos at this point with the tests, 15,000 US. And we have insurance. So the doctor took pity on us. Nora and Fernando said, okay, let's check him in under an emergency because they were waiting for the bone biopsy results. And with that was the final result we needed to get this therapy going. They checked us in under an emergency. They did a couple little procedures that could have waited, but they kept us in overnight because an overnight thing will kick your insurance in too. So they did that. The bone biopsy came back the next afternoon. Lorenzo had his first treatment on the Friday. So, 14 days, diagnosis to treatment. That is great medical care. You're not going to get that in the U.S. You're not going to. On something that's 2% of the freaking lymphomas in the world, we are literally getting these tests every day. So when I see stuff online that says Mexico is, not good health care and whatever, it's good if you can pay for it. I'm telling you that. They've got the technology. So anyway, he gets his first treatment, and then what we call now every weekend is the jailbreak. How are we going to get out of here? So Nora and Fernando have done everything they can to, when they say program, it's pre-approval, to get pre-approval on this thing. So we get the diagnosis on Thursday. He's there. We're there on Friday night. We're there on Saturday night. On the Sunday, they say, okay, we're going to check you out. The insurance has approved this procedure and us being there. It's been approved. What we don't realize is that it's a Sunday. You have to wait 10 hours for the insurance people to talk to the hospital people to let you go. This was our first experience with this. And so I fortunately had a really big birthday party planned for my best friend for 100 people at 4 o'clock that afternoon. And it's noon. And I'm like pushing everybody. I'm pushing Nora and Fernando. I'm like, get me out of here. I've got this thing going. And they said, no, we can't do it. Hospital, let me do it. So the gal at the hospital said, if you give me your card and let me run it, you can come back tomorrow and we'll give you credit. And I'm like, oh my God, that's fantastic. 263,000 pesos. $13,000 US. So, Linda, I hope you appreciated that, honey. It did work that way. I did come home, we did the party, I went back the next day, they gave me the 263,000 back. And then I paid my copay, which was gone at this point. Remember, it's 31,000 and 45,000 max copay. So we did that in the first week. So now we're supposed to be paying zero, right? So Lorenzo's treatments once a week, 200,000 pesos a week. And we have to do it on Fridays. And it has to be pre-programmed. And this is where a great agent or even a medical concierge could help you, because they have to program it with the prescription, with the medical report from the previous week in order for the insurance people to pay.
If it weren't for Nora and Fernando understanding all of this and how it had to be done, I would have been lost, honestly. And I mean, we feel really fortunate we were able to do that, but by the time we started getting reimbursed, which was just last week, and this has been going on since August 4th, it's really not that long, actually. We were out like 25,000 US before we started getting reimbursed, and now we're getting there. We're really happy about that. But every week, when we go in on Saturday, Lorenzo does his treatments on Friday night. It used to be a cheap date, not anymore. We call it our date night. On Saturday morning, I call Nora and Fernando, and I say, okay, the doctor has checked us out. And then we wait 5 or 6 hours until the insurance company, even though it's pre-approved, even though it's done, decides that they're going to pay the hospital. And Lorenzo last week got a wild hair and said, I'm going to go down and talk to these insurance people and whatever. And the nurse's station, as soon as he tore his bracelet off, as soon as he walked past the nurse's station, they're picking up the phone, calling the guards. And I'm walking back and forth in this hospital. All the guards know me now. I know all the Starbucks people. I know everybody. And I said, I'm not going down there with you because they're going to know if you're walking with me that you belong to me. So you go down. So he goes down wearing a bright orange shirt. And I watch him, and then I watch all the guards that one is usually an emergency, and one is usually on 4th floor, one's usually on 5th floor. They called them all down there because he's trying to get out of the damn hospital, and he doesn't have his little get out of jail free pass. So it's serious. They do take that serious. So anyway, I just thought it was something that you guys should be aware. Even with insurance, they're going to want a deposit, and you're going to have to pay that until you can get your diagnosis, till you get your claim going, until all of that. It's very different from the U.S. In the U.S., you give them your insurance card, and you may see a bill in a month, right? They're not asking for cash. If you're here in this system, you need cash. So, and eventually your insurance, if you've got good agents, will get you paid back. So, anyway, that's our story. Other than the good news on this, after 6 treatments, Lorenzo is in total remission. So we're super happy about that. And in the end, it's not about money, right? It's not about money. We're super fortunate that we found great doctors with great technology. And so, anyway, we're super, super fortunate. I want you guys to be fortunate too if anything would happen to your family. So, we hope that this was helpful. Do you guys have any questions? Anybody have any questions for any of the speakers? Is it understandable? Yes?
You have to have a Mexican bank account.
You do have to have a Mexican bank account to be reimbursed, yes. With your name. Yeah, that is a requirement. Only your name. Can't be your wife on it, because we have several accounts with both of us on it.
What?
They wanted just his name as the primary. We had to go open it. We had to go open a new account for him. Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. In another name. Oh, we could have done that? Okay. It's just another paperwork thing. Nor saying you can authorize it to go to a different account, but we didn't do that. We just opened it. Any other questions? Oh. Okay, and so Lisa, okay, what Charles, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
No, honey, well, this is what it's for.
You must have had a black credit card, one of those fancy credit cards that has unlimited. And how do you pay the kind of money that you are suggesting you have? Most people don't have it in cash. And cryptocurrency works.
Yeah, crypto card.
Crypto. So you have crypto.
That's a whole other seminar. The other, we're going to do another couple more of these when we have some of our snowbirds here that are only here for 4 to 6 months, because they need their health care when they're here too. But one of the options, and a lot of my American friends do this, especially people who have been up against the age limitations, they use Medicare, and their plan is to get on a plane and go get their Medicare. That works in a lot of situations if you can get on a plane. You know, if you're on a stretcher and whatever, you might not. The commercial airlines aren't going to fly good. So Lisa is here. She has just joined a new company that does medical evacuations, and she's going to speak next time because we're going to be talking about alternative things you can do to get your health care handled. And so, but she's here and she's got some information if that's something that you're into. If you're on Medicare or if you want to go back to the U.S. for your care. I will tell you this, when Lorenzo was first diagnosed, the hematologist said, do you want to go to the U.S.? And I'm like, why would I want to spend 3 times the money? Lorenzo's treatment is $200,000 a week in the U.S., which is, what is that, 10,000 U.S.? Is that right, 200,000, 10,000 U.S.? In the U.S., it's 600,000, 30,000 a week. So, why would I do that? Anyway, any other questions? Everybody is here. Get their information if you're interested. Yes, Sarah. She didn't have a curb, and they wouldn't do it. Okay. Oh, well, I don't know, how does that work? If they have a Patty. What? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. The question was that Sarah's mom,
My mother-in-law.
your mother-in-law, has a curb, had a previous cancer diagnosis, and IMS turned her down. She declared it on that application? She told the truth? Okay, well, that was the first mistake.
Well, they'll deny it if they find out.
They won't? Is that how it works in Mexico, Patty? There are different rules in Mexico, guys. Right, exactly.
So pre-existing conditions could be a problem.
Pre-existing can be a problem. Both IMSS and private medical, it's a 2-year waiting period. So for you young people, I see a lot of young people, get on something now. GoFundMe is not a medical plan, guys. It's not.
Preventative health care.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Everybody's got their information here. I encourage you to talk to them about specific issues and whatever. Thank you guys for coming here. You know, let's keep our whole community healthy, okay? All right, guys.